William Storey is a British businessman from Richmond and Thames. He founded Rich Energy Limited, which manufactures the energy drink Rich Energy. In 2018, they became a sponsor of the Haas F1 team. Despite the drink previously having been seen at Haas, it's hard to find any in stores or an outlet which sells them. Old financial documents from 2016 and 2017 showed that Rich Energy's bank balance was only a few £100s, but Rich Energy claimed that it's grown since then. Before Haas, Rich Energy tried to buy another Formula 1 team, Force India. Storey posted on LinkedIn that their offer to buy Force India was accepted. David Brabham, the son of three-time Formula 1 champion Jack Brabham, was also linked to buying the team. Force India responded saying that no offer from potential investors is under consideration. Force India would later go into administration and was bought by Lawrence Stroll. The team's name would change to Racing Point and then Aston Martin. Rich Energy were then linked to sponsoring Williams before deciding to become sponsors for Haas. At the launch, Haas changed their colours to match the colours of Rich Energy, and Storey said they planned to beat Red Bull on and off the track. And after Haas driver Kevin Magnussen finished above Red Bull driver Max Verstappen in qualifying, due to Magnussen's crash, Rich Energy put out a tweet saying that Verstappen should drink Rich Energy and he would be happier. When the race happened the next day, both Red Bull drivers finished above both Haas drivers. Storey also claimed that the company has produced 90 million cans and backed by 4 sterling billionaires. White Bikes then took Rich Energy to court, saying that it was an unauthorised copy of their logo. The judge agreed and said that both Storey and his friend and Rich Energy logo designer Sean Kelly were unreliable witnesses. I found both Mr. Storey and Mr. Kelly to be poor witnesses. Mr. Storey provided different and inconsistent accounts of the development of the Rich Energy logo, which also conflicted to a large extent with the evidence of Mr. Kelly. He often did not answer questions directly, preferring to make speeches about his vision for his business or alternatively seeking to evade questions by speaking in generalities or in the third person plural. He only answered civil questions when I intervened. He had a tendency to make impressive statements which on further investigation or consideration were not quite what they seemed. Storey also clarified that Rich Energy had produced 90 million cans by saying that these had not been filled or sold at that point, and instead estimated that the company had sold about 3 million cans in 2018. The judge ruled that Rich Energy also had to pay White Bike's legal costs of £35,416. According to White Bikes, Rich Energy failed to pay by the deadline. Rich Energy tweeted this to White Bikes. White Bikes responded by posting this image of then Haas driver Romain Grosjean riding on one of their bikes in 2014. Rich Energy then put out a tweet saying that they asked for the team to remove the logo because they didn't want any media circus for the team, while still claiming that the logo was theirs. Before the 2019 British Grand Prix, Rich Energy announced on their Twitter account that they had terminated their deal with Haas due to poor on-track performance and that the politics and PC attitude of F1 was inhibiting their business. While Haas still claimed that Rich Energy was their sponsor, Storey compared the Haas F1 car to a milk float and Rich Energy posted this. And this. After the British Grand Prix, Rich Energy blamed the tweets of a rogue individual and insisting that the deal was still on. Storey responded saying the ludicrous statement by minority shareholders, cozy with Red Bull and White Bikes, is risible, and said that their palace coup had failed and that he controls all the assets of Rich Energy and that he has support of all key stakeholders. There was a leak suggesting that Red Bull was suing Storey. Allegedly, it was because of Storey using Red Bull's own advertising slogans against them. Haas later terminated the sponsorship and Companies House revealed that Storey was no longer associated with Rich Energy and that the company was changing its name to Lightning Volt Limited, with Storey saying he sold his majority stake in the company in disgust at conduct of duplicitous minority stakeholders, with Zoran Terzic also departing from Lightning Volt Limited. Matthew Kell became the new controlling shareholder, but both Storey and Terzic returned after Storey bought shares off Kell to become majority shareholder again, and Terzic was reappointed. In March 2021, Lightning Volt was wound up, owing creditors an estimated £54 million. In 2022, OMG Rich Energy Racing Yamaha team released a statement after Rich Energy said it had ended its sponsorship of the team, a statement backed up by Storey. But the motorcycle team said that they were not sponsored by William Storey or the Rich Energy brand owners, and that they were sponsored by Rich OMG Limited, the global sales and distribution rights holder for the drinks Rich Energy Classic and Rich Energy Sugar Free. Their statement also said the sponsorship agreement was established in March 2020 and remains firmly in place at this time, and that following discussions with Rich OMG Limited, they have been assured that all other existing sponsorships that have been undertaken by Rich OMG Limited also remain firmly intact and paid for. In 2022, Storey said that Rich Energy would return to Formula One for the 2022 season, but F1 teams refused to meet with him. He wanted to enter his own F1 team for the 2022 season, but it was alleged that he didn't have enough money and owed creditors, including car leasing companies and hotels, over unpaid bills, and would not be given a paddock pass and would be refused entry to it if he appeared. It's also alleged that Rich Energy assets are intangible. As for other businesses Storey was involved in, Wolf Jerky Limited was liquidated, Wise Guy Boxing, Danieli Style Limited, and Rich Energy Racing Limited were dissolved. Storey recently tried to buy Sunderland and Coventry City but was unsuccessful. Now he is trying to buy Reading from Dai Yong. Reading currently find themselves in the relegation zone in League One, having been relegated from the Championship last season after a second points deduction in recent years, having received a points deduction in the 2021-22 season too.